Hi, I'm Margie from Hush Education. Do you know, one of my very favourite lessons to teach in primary schools is what we call reproduction. We talk about conception, we talk about pregnancy, and we talk about birth. And over the years that I've been teaching sexuality education, a lot of things have changed, although that might seem very unusual because really nothing has changed at all. But you know, I taught my first sex education class way back in the early 80s. I was teaching at an all-boys independent Catholic school. You can imagine how that went when I had to do a father and son evening and talk about conception when I was about 7 or 8 months pregnant. I don't think I've ever recovered from that one. I've become, since 2005, a full-time sexuality educator. And even in those days, when we talked about conception, we very much spoke about penis in vagina, sexual intercourse as a way of creating a baby. And there wasn't a whole lot of extra information. Eventually we started to talk in very broad terms about IVF, without actually knowing too much about all the different methods that can be used and all the different ways this can take place. These days we are much luckier, and as parents and as children, no matter how they were created, there's a lot of great interesting books out there, and I wanted to talk about just a couple of those right now. The first one is called My Incredible Journey, and it's an IVF journey written by Julian Duband and illustrated by Jennifer Duband, his wife. And I actually love the illustrations in this book because there's a lot of creative cut and paste, cut out, artistic looking pictures throughout the book. It is a rhyming book, which seems to be very popular these days, and a lot of information helping a child to understand the incredible way that they were created. I'm not going to read the whole book, but this page, Mum explained that way back then our family numbered 3. Mum, Dad and Spot the dog lived very happily. They took Spot to the park each day. She loved to have a run. She played with all the other dogs. They all had lots of fun. And it goes on to say that the mum and dad would look at the children and the families at the park and hope that one day they would have a family of their own. And it takes them through the process of having the medication to make the woman ovulate, to provide the husband or father's sperm, to joining the cells together and eventually creating the baby, or the babies in this case as well. So really good little book. It is available on our website at www.husheducation.com.au/store, and you'll be able to get it from there. These are local authors and illustrators, so you can look up and find out a little bit more about them as well. So My Incredible Creation and IVF Journey. Great little book. Another one that I really enjoy reading is called One in Many Millions. And I suppose the slight difference in this book is that it's about creating rainbow families. In this case, we have 2 mums in the family, and they explain the story to the child of how they came about and what sort of things happened, perhaps the more common way of creating a baby, and then comparing it to the way that this little child was created as well. And again, it's got some lovely little pictures and illustrations in there, and it's got a lot of love throughout this story as well. So it's not just scientific, it talks about feelings, it talks about the fertility clinic. It does mention that sperm can be donated. Look at that fantastic picture there of the sperm in the jar. If you are a same-sex parent family and perhaps you haven't needed to or haven't wanted to have that conversation just yet, this lovely little book, One in Many Millions by R.J. Miles, is a really great place to start. So do a quick Google search and you'll be able to find that one as well. My last one I'm going to talk about just now, one of my absolute favourites. It's called Tell Me About Sex, Grandma. And again, this seems to be a very current type of illustration style. A lot of this looks almost like cut out or torn out pieces throughout different books. I love this book for a lot of different reasons. The people in this book are people of colour, which is great because you don't see a whole lot of characters in books. And this one's sort of saying, I'm not supposed to see it, know it, or do it. It's like a swear or a secret, so it must be bad. And the grandma says, well, sex is private. And they said, well, just tell me. Actually, wait, let me get ready. And to get ready, the child in this book has gone off and done a couple of other things while they've had some time to think and prepare themselves, and probably mostly to give grandma a little bit of time to prepare herself as well. I'm not going to read the whole story or the whole book to you, except to say that I think this is an absolutely perfect book for sort of middle to upper primary age children. It talks about the law and the laws to do with sex, and we always say that the laws to do with sex are something that happens in private. It is something that both people always choose to do every time it happens, and it is something that there are age limits. It's for adults, for people who are cognitively able to make those choices and those decisions. This one goes on to say one of the rules is also to respect a person's sexuality, because it is no one else's business. I love that. So it's called Tell Me About Sex, Grandma. It's written and illustrated by Anastasia Higginbotham. Again, you can do a search on Google. I think you will absolutely love this book. It's well worth having. If you're someone who lives near me or knows me and you want to borrow it, you're welcome to do that. But do yourself a favour, says Molly, and check it out and see if you would enjoy to read it for yourself as well. Thanks, bye.